The indoor garden is doing amazing. Hello, everyone, and welcome to my channel. My name is Kim, and you're at Kim's Cozy Corner. It's been a minute since I gave you an update on how everything's doing. We've gotten through all of the holidays, Christmas, New Year's, and I've been doing a few things in the garden, and it's actually past time for me to harvest a few things. But before I harvested anything, before I added anything else to the indoor grow space, I wanted to give you an update and just show you how things are doing. There's some good things and there's some not so good things. So I'm going to show you everything. In this space right here, I have my collard greens growing, and they don't look so great. Y'all, I left this shop light right here, this simple little shop light, I left them almost touching the greens, and it really kind of burnt them to a crisp in a few areas right here. But I've raised the light now, so they have a little more room. They're deep green, and they've been fertilized, and they're looking pretty good. The issues that I have with the collard greens, I said turnip greens, collard greens. The issue that I have with the collard greens is that I used the very old potting mix, the horrible potting mix, and I did have some fungus gnats in there. I've treated them, and I've been treating them like every other day, and I'm seeing fewer and fewer fungus gnats in that container. Now, I don't have an issue with fungus gnats anywhere else in this whole space. No issues whatsoever. But those collard greens, there were gnats everywhere, and I've been treating them, and they're looking better. I think they're going to be fine. If they don't get any better, though, I'll just pick this up and we'll move it outside. And it's small enough that I can bring it in and out as needed, because collard greens can take some of the cold temperatures, not the super cold temperatures, but it can take some cold. So I can move them outside if I have to. But I believe that I've taken care of that infestation with the fungus gnats in the collard greens. Now, let's look at some other stuff. This is my little cimarron plant here, growing up under a shop light. So we're at the same shop light as before. This is cimarron, and I'm thinking, what, one more week, y'all? Maybe a week we can harvest this. Now, it is growing much slower than my GreenStalk, but we're using a regular shop light versus a grow light for this particular plant right here. We will do potatoes next. So one of the things that I talked about was neglect in one of my last videos, where I wasn't watering the way I was supposed to. So I lost some of the leaves on this potato plant back here. Everything was all weak because it needed water. So watering is back on point. And up here, I got places where blooms are starting to come on. And blooms, of course, y'all, blooms means that there are potatoes down below. So that pot is still very happy. I felt around in that pot, and in there I did feel some little baby potatoes. So even though we got some of these that got crispy from where I didn't water, the majority of the plants are still very healthy. And these are white potatoes. Over here are my purple Viking potatoes, and they are starting to bloom as well. And I had a light that was too close on it, and it had singed some of the leaves. That's been a couple of weeks ago now, and there's new leaves coming as well as blooms. And then this is the last pot of potatoes. These are red Pontiac potatoes. I planted them a little over a week ago now, and they're already starting to come up. We've broken ground in, I think, 3 of the 4 areas. So I had a potato on either side here, and then one going this way. So there are 2 different layers of potatoes, and they're coming up nicely. I had one person ask me about potatoes. Now, the comment was in my outdoor garden, and wanted to know why was I harvesting my potatoes, because the stems had fallen over versus waiting till they die all the way back. Well, it depends on what kind of potatoes you have. You can leave your potatoes in the ground too long. If you leave them in the ground too long, waiting for them to die all the way back, some of those first potatoes that were ready may start sprouting again. And I don't want that to happen. You can harvest your potatoes technically. Once they start blooming, you know potatoes are below, and you can start harvesting them anytime at that point. The one thing you don't want to happen is your potatoes to be in the ground and the ground freezes. So that's a bad thing. You don't want your potatoes to freeze in the ground, but you can start harvesting as soon as you see blooms, then you got new potatoes down below. But you can harvest them anytime after that. Most people wait until the plants fall over and they start dying back. Some people wait till they're fully died back, and that's just a personal choice. That is not how I do my potatoes. I will not do my potatoes that way, because if you wait too long, then they start sprouting again and they don't last as long. And I want my potatoes to store as long as possible once I harvest them, and I want them to taste as fresh as possible. So that's just how I like to do my potatoes. Everybody's different. There's not one way of doing your potatoes. You can do them whichever way, however you prefer to do them. And it also depends on where you live. My growing season for potatoes is probably not as long as some places. The farther south you go, you might not want to grow potatoes when it's super hot in the summer. I grow my potatoes, I start in the spring. I get one harvest, I put another harvest in, and then I'm harvesting again in the fall. So I can get 2 crops in a year. But it all just depends on where you live, the temperatures where you live, the climate, all of that stuff makes a difference. So that's just how I do my potatoes. Let's see what else we got going on. So before we jump over to the green stalks here beside me, let's look at all the little containers that I have growing in my indoor grow tent. And we are indoors. This is 4x8 grow tent by Vivosun. All the links are below, as well as in the link to my store, my shop. You can find everything that I purchased there. But in here, I have seedlings, and so we'll look over at the seedlings first. I just watered, and so I have bok choy here that we tried to make happier. I finally have a place to put these last 2 bok choy plants. I also have already started a few peppers, and these are all peppers here, and this is a pepper right here. And I don't have them on a heating mat. And the plan is not to put them on a heating mat, because if it takes 3 weeks to germinate, that's okay, because I'm in no rush. I'm not expecting peppers off of them indoors. But my hope is that I can fill in some of my empty pockets on this green stalk beside me here with those peppers. So when it is time to take them outdoors, when it warms up in the spring, then they're ready to go. They're already established, and they will start popping peppers off quickly. At least that's what I did last year, and that's what we're going to try to do this year. In this next section over here, these are cabbage as well as Napa cabbage growing in these next few containers, these next 3 containers where you see something coming up. And again, I'm trying to rescue my little seedlings there and see if we can get them to start growing. And just behind it, in this container right here, that's a container with 3 more types of lettuce. They haven't broken ground yet. It's only been, 4 days or so since I did that. But that's all of the little seedlings. I still have some butter crunch here. I have 3 containers of butter crunch that we need to transplant in the next day or so, which we will be doing. I just gave them a nice watering. And there's water still in this container here. And so I will be pouring this water off, because you don't want to leave your seeds, your young seedlings, sitting in water too long. Once it soaks up all the water it needs, then I pour the water off. In front of that, I have Cherokee wax beans in here, as well as strike beans. And they are so happy now. They weren't happy before, but they are very happy now. And hopefully we'll get some beans on these very soon. I put them a little closer to my grow light here, and as soon as I did that, they perked right on up. On this side over here, these are dragon tongue beans, as well as strike beans in here as well. And it didn't look too great at first, but now these dragon tongue beans have kind of taken off. They have the healthier plants where the strike beans were not that healthy. But that container is looking pretty good. And then there's this container here that's doing absolutely nothing. Nothing. I have been trying my best to grow my cucumbers in here, and they have done absolutely horrible. I had one plant that came up, it died. I planted 3 more seeds, so I've wasted 6 seeds on this container, and I've gotten nothing. But don't fret, y'all. I'm not fretting because my indoor hydroponic system is on point. Let's go up there next and let me show you everything that's going on in the hydroponic systems. You see why I'm not concerned about cucumber plants? I have 4 beautiful cucumber plants growing up here. 4! And they're all healthy. They have teeny little cucumbers on them. I don't even know if you can see them down there. But this one has like 6 or 7 teeny little baby cucumbers on them. And that's just one plant. And then there's another plant over here. And another. And another. So I am going to have to provide a little bit of support for that teeny little plant. It doesn't really vine that much, but I'm going to have to give it a little bit of support just so I can keep it leaning in the right direction. But this is my full salad in one hydroponic system. So we got the cucumbers. On this side over here, we have 4 micro dwarf tomatoes growing. We have the red robin here, and it's happy. There's another red robin, I believe. And then we have an orange hat in here somewhere. I should have moved it closer to the front because it's so little. Orange hat only gets to about 9 inches high. And then in the very back, we have a micro tom back there. So that'll give us little cherry tomatoes. Next to the tomatoes, I have lettuce growing. Look at that. There's lettuce right there. There's some more lettuce right there. So, and there's more lettuce coming in over here. It's doing amazing. And all the way in the back, parsley is my favorite herb. And I have parsley growing all the way in the back on that side. So that is my little everything I need for a healthy salad, except for peppers. They're on a different plant. Everything else I need is right there. But let's look at this other hydroponic system. This is the smaller of my 2 systems. I have spinach growing on the outside, and here's one of the spinach plants that finally came up. So it's definitely lagging the lettuce that I have in here. I don't think that pocket ever germinated. Nope. And then over here, I have spinach growing here. And did that one germinate? I don't think that one germinated either. So I have 2 spinach plants and then tons of lettuce. I have lettuce growing pretty much in every other pocket. Now this right here, I believe is Pablo. I don't remember if that's what I put in here or not. I think that's Pablo right there. And that is my flashy butter gem back here. It has little red specks on it. One of my favorite lettuces. And yeah, another lettuce. I don't know what that is. That might be crispy mint, which is a romaine lettuce back there. But y'all, hydroponics are looking good. Looking good, looking good, looking good. So there's really no need for any other lettuce. But let's get back downstairs to those GreenStalks because I have tons of lettuce down there as well. All right, let's get back to these GreenStalks. Now that we're back to the GreenStalks, let's talk about the one with lettuce in it first. So I have lettuce, tomatoes, and 1 pocket of beans and 2 pockets of bok choy. But let's check it out. In this top tier, this was the last tier that I put on. of all of the green stalks in the garden. This was the last tier, and this was bok choy that was desperately needing to be transplanted. It's looking better, and yes, it didn't get watered. It's been watered now, and they're getting healthy again. The lettuce is amazing. This is amazing. This is Merlot, and it has all of the red colors like it's supposed to have. But then if you look down to this Merlot, you can see it doesn't have all the bright red colors where this one does. So the closer they are to my lights, the better they look. This pocket's empty, and this is Slow Boat. That looks amazing. We will harvest this on another video very, very soon. And then another pocket of bok choy. And then this is Lantis Winter, and it looks amazing, amazing, amazing. These are very happy. I should have only put one in the pocket. I did put two. One would have been more than enough. It is slowing the growth just a little bit, but once I harvest this one will take off, or vice versa. Moving down to the next level here. Y'all, look at this. This is Cimarron, I think. Yes, this is Cimarron. Look at it. Oh my goodness. We will harvest this, if not today, tomorrow. Beautiful, beautiful plant. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Look at this, y'all. It's going to seed. I need to get this harvested soon. Right in the center. It's going straight up. Micro dwarf tomatoes here. And I'm starting to, it looks like I'm starting to get ready to get blooms on this one here. I think that's Micro Tom. Nope, that's Red Robin right there. And then I just showed you this is the same as this one up here, Merlot. We'll get that harvested up. This is my Micro Tom, and it has some little blooms on it and one little tomato on it. But y'all, look at this. Oh my God, look at this. This is amazing. Now, I love my lettuce. I love it. This is Butter Crunch, and I started this Butter Crunch right here the exact same time I started this Butter Crunch right here. And if you give it room to grow, it'll go from this to this in no time. And this is Orange Hat. This is going to be an orange tomato, and it has blooms on it as well. And I think I've been all the way around. In the third tier down, this was the first tier of lettuce I planted. And I started all of the seedlings down here at the same time that I started these seedlings, as well as the ones all the way at the top. But we've harvested off of this tier at least 2 times now. So here's some Lantis Winter that's been harvested once. And here's more up here. Here's some Slow Boat. I've harvested this Slow Boat several times. And there's more up here. Just want you to see. Here's my one pocket that I used to have lettuce in, and I went back and I planted beans in this one here. And these are Cherokee wax beans, and I only had one come up so far, but it looked like there were a few more that were trying to peek their heads out. This is Merlot, and it's already starting to bolt. This is one of those pockets that we will replenish with the new seedlings. And this right here, this is the Cimarron. I planted this Cimarron right here, this small little plant, very small little plant, the same time that I planted this little guy back here. And this one is actually larger than this one right here. So you don't have to have grow lights. That's the only thing I was trying to say. You don't have to have grow lights. The one in the smaller container is just as healthy as the one I have growing here in this GreenStalk. This one has more soil, but is farther away from the grow lights, where this one has less soil, but is closer to the shop light. It was just a little experiment to say you don't have to have all of this to grow your own food. All right, back at it. And I believe, I don't know what that is. I don't remember. Butter Crunch, maybe. I don't know. But more lettuce that we've already harvested. We've harvested all of this at least 2 times. And then all the way down here at the bottom, I am growing full-size tomatoes. And yes, I did say full-size tomatoes. Now they are on a dwarf plant, which means they only get 2 to maybe 3 feet tall, but they're going to give me full-size beefsteak style tomatoes. At least that's what we're hoping for. If nothing else, I have a beautiful plant that's healthy, and maybe I'll get tomatoes sooner outside if I don't get any to grow inside. But I should. There's no difference in these tomatoes than the little micro dwarf tomatoes. They just take longer to mature. So let's look at the tomatoes. I have 2 varieties. So this is my Tasmanian chocolate. And here's a picture of Tasmanian chocolate, just so you know. It's not a cherry tomato, it's a full-size tomato. And I had to replant this pocket. And so this is the second plant. I thought the first plant was going to die, but it didn't. I believe, since there's no tag on it, I believe this is one of my burpees beef steaks or bush steak burpees. I'm gonna put it right here beside me because went brain dead. I don't forgot what it's called, but bush steak is what I think it is. It's a beef steak on a bush plant. Here's another. Now I do have a couple dried leaves on this one as well as this one here, but that was when I didn't water the way I should have. Look at this one. This one's healthy and it's happy. It's nice and big and healthy. Bush steak is what it's called. Here's another bush steak here, and it had some leaves that were all dried out when I didn't water as well. And I think this is another one of those plants that I had to replace. But they're healthy for the most part and happy for the most part. And if nothing else, like I said, they'll be ready to go outside sooner and hopefully bloom sooner, even if I can't get blooms indoors. Now, you don't have to have a pollinator for these tomato plants. Pollinators help. I'm not saying they don't help, but with the fan mimicking wind blowing and giving my plants just a little jiggle every now and then, that will help with all of the pollination that tomato plants need. Because I had quite a few people ask me about pollination. I'm not growing anything indoors where I absolutely have to have that pollinator. And if I was, then I can hand pollinate if needed. For example, like squash plants and most of the cucumber varieties I grow, you would have to have a pollinator. The one cucumber that I'm growing upstairs, they pollinate themselves. You don't need a pollinator. And that's how I'm able to get cucumbers indoors without hand pollinating. So now let's look over to the last GreenStalk that we have to talk about, and that is the pepper GreenStalk. All right, in the GreenStalk right here, we are only talking sweet peppers, y'all. Nothing but sweet peppers. And they're dark green, they're healthy. We have been watering now, minus that 1 week that I didn't. We've been fertilizing. We have peppers. Y'all look at this thunderbolt. That's my favorite pepper right there. We've been harvesting peppers along the way. I'm waiting for them to turn red or orange or purple or yellow, whatever color they're supposed to be. Plenty of these purple ones, these purple bells, Zulu. I have about 3 of them right there that I could harvest right now if I wanted to, but we're not harvesting today. Or not at the moment anyway. More bell peppers. There's another pepper there. So you can see there are a lot of peppers, and I'm just looking at the bottom 2 tiers. Lots of blooms down here. Wow, look at that one. That one snuck around on me. I didn't even see it. Look at that pepper there. So the bottom 2 tiers look really good. All of them, except for that little pocket right there. This is one of those pockets that I was talking about where the plant didn't survive me bringing it in. And so we're going to replace this pocket probably first with cabbage, and then we'll remove the cabbage and put more peppers in this particular pocket in the upcoming weeks. I did the same thing last year. Last year I had one that didn't make it, and so I planted one beside it. And this year, this one is doing well. So I never pull my roots and my stems out. I just let them, you know, compost in place, if you want to call it that. So moving up to that third tier, look at that. Look at that pepper, y'all. That thing looks good. It looks good. I have a little bit of the curling of the leaves, but I think it's okay. The pepper looks amazing on there, so I'm going to assume everything is great on that plant. Same with this one here. What is this anyway? Joe Parker. So that's a Joe Parker right there. Again, all sweet peppers. There's another one back there to the side. Now this one was having a rough go of it at first, but it's bounced back. It's got new leaves in the back here. So that one's trying to survive. This is a California Wonder plant. It's got some little bitty peppers on it as well. One of the other things is I did end up with some spider mites on here. You might not be able to see them, but there are a few spider mites, and I've been treating for them, and they're only in 2 layers of this GreenStalk. Here's another nice pepper right here. Let me show you this last pocket, and then we'll talk about those spider mites. Y'all, look at this. Look at that. That pepper's amazing. Let me move the leaves so you can get the full glory of that pepper. And then there's another one there. That plant's doing amazing. And this is a bell mix. So I'm not even sure what kind of bell it is. We will find out very soon. And I think I'm all the way back around. Yes. So then this top tier is where I've been struggling with those spider mites. I've been treating for it every other day. I think I have them under control for the most part, but I don't believe this plant here is going to survive, or this plant here. And this one, I was ready to take it out, but now it's got little bitty blooms trying to come on. So I might hold off on that one, but we'll definitely take this one out and this one out. And we will probably replace them with maybe carrots first, and then we'll put something else in. But this top tier has been struggling with the spider mites. Now, there are peppers up here, though. Don't get me wrong. There's still peppers growing. And this is indoors anyway. This is another one I thought I was going to have to take out, but it's bounced back as well. And this one here is bounced back. There are new green leaves down there. So maybe, just maybe, if I had watered properly for that week or so that I kind of took a leave of absence, then maybe the spider mites wouldn't have taken over up there, because I took my eye off the ball. And I'm back. We're back in the indoor grow space. We're making sure everything's doing what it needs to do, and we will treat if we need to treat. But that's the indoor garden. That's the update. That's how everything's doing. I hope you enjoyed it. Look at all of the green behind me. We are having fun now, and we're getting ready to get real busy with all of that seed starting we need to do very soon. So that's it for today. I'll talk to you again very soon. Bye.